Namaste. I was working as a visiting professor on ICCR chair in Cambodia. During my stay in Cambodia, I found a lot of influence of Ramayana on Cambodian culture. So today I am going to speak on a topic entitled Ramayana and Indian culture as depicted in Cambodian Sanskrit inscriptions, sculptures, and paintings. As you know, Cambodia is famous for temples. Cambodia, in fact, was an ancient Indian colony with a number of Hindu temples even today. Ramayana is famous in every occasion in Cambodia. We have many Sanskrit inscriptions and Pali manuscripts in Cambodia. Cambodia is a country enriched with a splendid culture. Whole world has admired it due to the Angkor Wat and other Hindu temples spreading across the country. While India is a marvelous and culturally richest country in the world, in fact, the relation between India and Cambodia is very ancient and significant. Indians called Cambodia as Kambuja Desha. Influence of India and Khmer architecture, language, and culture is visible through the Hindu styles of temples. Khmer is a language of Cambodia. There was an ample influence of Pali and Sanskrit languages on Khmer language. So many words of Khmer language were made based on the Sanskrit language and Pali language of India. Ramayana story of India, which was basically written in Sanskrit, had entered in whole Southeast Asia due to its great significance and its high literary qualities. Ramayana was the Adikavya written by Valmiki in India. We say Jate Jagati Valmikau Kavirityabhida Bhavat Kavi iti tato vyase kavayastoi dandini. So when Valmiki was born in the world, the word Kavi was also born in the world. Until then there was no word Kavi in Sanskrit because Valmiki was the first poet in Sanskrit who wrote the first poem in Sanskrit language named Ramayana. So these countries indigenized the story of Ramayana according to their native cultures. Ramayana is called Ramakien in Thailand and Reamke in Cambodia. Ramayana has been spread in entire Southeast Asia. Every country has its own Ramayana, as we have Ramayana in every state, our own Ramayanas. In the same way, they also have Ramayanas. In many temples and palaces of Cambodia and Thailand, the sculptures and paintings which are based on Ramayana can be found. The Cambodian version of Ramayana is quite interesting because it is helpful to understand the Cambodian culture and it highlights the similarities and association of Khmer culture with ancient Indian culture. Mrs. Jacob has done a good job by translating the Khmer Ramayana with some critical notes in English. Her translation is based on Ramayana text published by the Institute of Buddhik in Phnom Penh from 1937 to 1969. Being inspired by the richness of Valmiki Ramayana, 3 Cambodian scholars have composed a Khmer version of Ramayana. It was a long process and couldn't happen in a short time. It took 3 centuries for them to compose this Khmer version of Ramayana. Khmer version of Ramayana had been divided into 2 parts. The first one is based on the Balakanda and Ayodhya Kanda of Valmiki Ramayana. The second part contains the story of Uttarakanda. Cambodians had contemplated how to render such a long text of Ramayana into Khmer. It was not easy task for them because the Valmiki Sanskrit epic of Ramayana contains more than 24,000 verses. Therefore, the Khmer authors, like other Southeast Asian scholars, have condensed the story of Ramayana into 5,000 verses. Some scholars of India studies indicated that some of the sculptures and paintings of Ramayana, which can be found in Cambodia, can't be found even in India because of the indigenization. To cite one such indigenization, during the Sita Swayamvara, various gods have arrived on their own vahanas, like Brahma on his Hansa, Indra on his Airavata, and Agni on ram in India. But Agni arrives, according to Cambodian Ramayana, Agni arrives on rhinoceros instead of ram, because it because they have indigenized the Ramayana in this way. But in India, Agni Deva rides the ram, which is not fit to the Khmer environment. So they indigenize the story of Ramayana according to their native culture. We can find many paintings during about this. And during my visit to the Silver Pagoda situated near Royal Palace in Phnom Penh in 2016, I found a huge fresco depicting the abduction and rescue. One portion of the fresco contains an inscription in Khmer which is not clear and legible, but I tried to get its meaning. The translation of that Khmer inscription is as follows: it is when Hanuman takes Lord Rama to mountain called. After that, it is not clear what is the name of the mountain, and asks Devata to look after Lord Rama. These things have been discussed by me with local scholars in Cambodia. The story is as follows, according to the indigenized Khmer Ramayana. The name of that mountain is Surakanta. And Hanuman took Lord Rama from Patala Loka when Vairavana, who was Ravana's friend and who had stolen Rama from Hanuman's mouth. Then he took Rama to Patala Loka. After this, Hanuman too entered into Patala Loka by the lotus branch. The arrival of Indian scholars had improved the Cambodian culture. In very ancient period, Cambodia was known as Kambuja Desha. Ishanapura was its capital city in the 7th century AD. But from 9th century to 13th centuries, the Angkor Empire had flourished with its new capital, Yashodharapura, near the present-day Siem Reap city. Cambodia has a magnificent past. The only reliable sources to know its history are the stone inscriptions, and luckily most of them were collected during the French rule in Cambodia. The language used in most of these stone inscriptions was the Sanskrit, which was widely used in India during that period. These Sanskrit inscriptions are real sources to reconstruct the history of Cambodia. The inscriptions in ancient Cambodia constitute the most valuable information of Sanskrit and Sanskrit-based Indian culture, and they serve like epigraphic records of India. They suggest about the survival of Indian language and Indian culture for more than 800 years in Cambodia. A large number of Sanskrit inscriptions have been found all over the Cambodia from 5th to 14th century AD. I found some Sanskrit inscriptions, and they are very, very interesting. I found very good literary aspects, literary values in these Sanskrit inscriptions. Sanskrit inscriptions were found in many centuries in Cambodia. Sanskrit inscriptions also are very famous in Cambodia. These Sanskrit inscriptions were found in many countries in Southeast Asia, but the Sanskrit inscriptions found in Kambuja are indeed the extraordinary compositions, as they were written in a beautiful and almost matured, impeccable Sanskrit Kavya style. It is not difficult to understand the Sanskrit scholarship of Sanskrit scholars who were living in Kambuja and their thorough acquaintance with the different meters of Sanskrit poetics and most developed rules and convention of rhetoric and prosody. The Wat Thipedi inscription of Ishana Varman II, dated 832 AD, is a fine example for this. The word Thipedi means it looks very strange for us, but it is formed out of Sanskrit language, out of Sanskrit word called Adhipati in Sanskrit. Adhipati became Thipedi. But the word Thipedi they call, that means the Adhipati temple, the Adhipati Mandira. The word Thipedi is a name of a small temple in the district of Siem Reap. This inscription is written in Sanskrit and contains 19 verses in it. The inscription was edited by George Sidis in Melang Sylvain Levy and noticed by Aimonier. This Wat Thipedi inscription of Ishana Varman II offers a good specimen of Gaudi style of Sanskrit poetics. The French scholar Georges Sidis had regarded the author to be the inhabitant of Gauda region. The exquisite Kavya style can be found in the following verses of the Wat Thipedi inscription. Namo Nanganga Nirbhanga Sanginepi Viragine Anganabhaga Nalinga Linardhangaya Shambhave Patuvah Pundari Kaksha Vaksho Vikshipta Kaustubham Lakshmistana Mukhaklishta Kashana Kshama Chandanam. In Eastern Bore stele inscription of Yashovarman, we can find figures of speech used in many verses. For example, one of the verses of this inscription explains the composer's profound knowledge of Sanskrit poetics. Krodhadi Vakhnayo Yasya Namanaksheku Rikshitum Krodhadi Vakhnayo Yasya Namanaksheku Rikshitum Tannivaseshwara Siro Gangaraya Bhayadiva. This is from Eastern Borage tale inscription of Yashovarman. So now we have to think why Khmer has influence of Pali and Sanskrit. Since 1st century, Pali and Sanskrit languages were used as official languages in the royal court and outside the royal court of Cambodia between kings and his officials. When Pali was used for Buddhist prayers and other rituals in the country, Sanskrit was used as official language inside the royal palace. It is interesting to know that both Buddhism and Hinduism were practiced by Khmer kings and people without much differentiation. So we have so many similarities, linguistic similarities between Sanskrit and Khmer, Pali and Khmer. For example, in Sanskrit we say Kumaraha. They say Koma. Purushaha became Boras. Stri became Strai. Yavanaha became Yuvan. Hastaha is house. Padaha is a bath, because Pa becomes Ba. Padaha becomes Bath. Karnaha is a Ka. Nasika is a Nasi. Shiraha is a Si. Keshaha is a Case. Dantaha is a Ton. Netram is a Net. Oshtyaha is a Os. Gruha is a Krihi. Prasadaha is a Prasat. Guha is a Kohi. Ashram is a Asram. Vaidyaha is a Pet. Guru is a Kuru. Dasaha is a Tiyas. We can show many words like this. For example, Nari is same, used as Nari. Kanya is used as Kanya. So in this way we have lot of similarities. We have similarities with the Pali also, like Geha is a Pali word, Geha same. Sala is used as Sala. Mandira is Mandira, Vihara is a Vihara, Agara is a Agara, Arama is Arama. Pali words are taken as it is because of Buddhism. And we have one very interesting verse in one of the inscriptions. Marija iva Ramasya Namad Yekakshara Shrava Namad Yekashara Shravat Yasyari Rajo Viropi Jagam Ananyajam Bhiyam. So here you can find very clearly the name of Maricha. Maricha iva Ramasya Namad Yekakshara Shravat. We have many sculptures of Ramayana on ancient Cambodian temples. We can find many sculptures of Ramayana in Angkor Wat and other temples also. So in this way, we can find a lot of influence of Ramayana on Cambodia, and we have mention of Ramayana and Indian culture in Cambodian inscriptions. We can find many incidents of Ramayana and Mahabharata on the temple walls, in the sculptures they are described, also in the paintings. So altogether it is very interesting to notice the influence of Ramayana and Indian culture and Cambodian culture. Thank you so much.